Raquel Bowman here, and I'm super excited this month to be a guest designer for Altenew. I'm creating a layout for you today, and I thought I'd show you quickly some of the products that I've gathered together and what I'm hoping to use on the layout. I haven't got a set plan in mind, but I do know what photo I want to use and a semi idea of a main element design. So I'm challenging myself to use the reflections and the Our Family scrapbook kit, but for a photo documenting my little man. So this is the photo here. It's a black and white photo. It's printed at about 70% of a 4x6, so it's slightly larger than a 3x4, but not as big as a 4x6 photo. And it was taken at a local park. I was sent a while ago the mega alphabet dies that spell out birthday, and these are to be used with like a bunting sort of style thing. But what I thought I could do was actually cut out the letters RAD to spell rad and use those as a focal point as well as the photo on this layout, and maybe use the alphas from the reflections kit to sort of build a title using the rad. So I've got those. I've gathered together as well some of these wood veneer pieces. These ones I think are from the reflections kit as well, and I haven't used some of the cute little animal icons and other sort of paper crane style designs, so I thought they'd work with a photo of Jack. And then I've just got a couple of stamp sets I pulled out. This one was more for this sort of splattery sort of look, and then I've got a couple of stencils that I can use as well, and then just a few papers sort of sticking to this lovely blue. I adore this paper. Here's some of one of the papers here. Then there's some yellow, some black and white of course, and then a softer grey, which I'm not quite sure if I want to use the softer grey, or if I want to use the grey I might rid of the yellow. Not quite sure of an actual design, but I know that I'm sort of going to challenge myself a little bit to document this photo of Jack. And I'm not sure yet whether these letters will be too large running down the bottom or whether I'll have to run them down the side, but I'm going to cut them out, see how it looks. It could even be cool to cut them out of the actual background paper and then back them underneath. No idea. So you're going to just come along with me and we'll see where this thought ends up. So I begin cutting the RAD out of the cardstock, and I decide to flip the orientation of my layout so that it is a landscape style layout. At first I was going to continue and keep the layout in portrait style with the rad going down that side, and then as I was playing around more and gathering embellishments and bits and pieces, I realized that it just wasn't feeling right to me. I think because the rad is such a focal point of the layout, I just was having a bit of trouble with not being able to fit everything like I wanted to on the page. So I'm just gathering out at this point just embellishments that I knew that I wanted to include on the layout or I thought would be cute on the layout, and just playing around a bit with the space that I have to work with which once I had my photo down, that RAD took up the majority, like half of the layout. So once I turned it this way into a landscape orientation, I was sort of able to work a little bit easier, and I knew that this would work for me, that I was going to be happy with the end result, which at the end of the day is what I'm always wanting to get out of layouts that I create. So I have a think about what I could add to the rad and decide to add totally, because I just thought that suited, and those letters from the reflections kit are just the perfect real graffiti style sort of font that worked really well with this photo of Jack, and with the layout being a more masculine layout. So I decided to go with that, and then I used this painted look stripe paper just to map my photo. The photo's printed slightly smaller than a 4x6, just because now that I'm working more with 8.5 by 11 size layouts, I find a 4x6 photo just too big. I still want my photo to be the main focal point of my layout, of course, but I just find the 4x6 is just that little bit too large. So I tend to print at about between 70 to 80% of a 4x6 size. Now I'm adding the inserts, the negative sort of insert piece back into the letters, and I use the dies just to help me to get the right placement of those, which is the perfect way of doing it, because I know that that's exactly where those inserts are meant to be. And then what I decided to do is I thought I would add some sort of texture to the page with some stamping. So I'm using like a watercolor frame set, and I'm using the jet black ink that I have in a mini cube, and I'm just going to fiddle around with my stamping press until I have a roundabout placement of where I want that to go. Now, funnily enough, I do really love the look of this stamping. However, once I add my layers and I add my embellishments, I cover most of it up, and I do it every time when I try and add a bit of detail and texture to a background. I end up covering up a lot of it with my embellishing once I get to that embellishing stage. But anyway, I keep going. At this point, I don't know that I'm going to cover up a lot of it, and I stamp a couple of those watercolor rings, and then I decide just to add some splatters to the background as well. I really love that the look of a splatter on a masculine layout. I just think it adds that grungy look that the page sort of was missing. So I add a few splatters to the background and give that some drying time. And normally on my work surface, I just pop a couple of A3 sheets of paper down just to get any of that extra mist that tends to just go everywhere when I try and splatter. I'm certainly not a mixed media expert. I'm definitely a beginner when it comes to that sort of stuff. So yeah, the paper just keeps it from going everywhere. And what I'm doing to embellish this page is I'm using some of the chipboard pieces, from the Reflections kit. That camera, it's sort of like a watercolor look camera, that little One Fine Day, which it certainly was on this beautiful day out at the park. And then those cute wood veneer pieces that I mentioned at the start that I really wanted to use on this layout, that add that nice little touch to the page and childlike feel, I thought. So I've added those. I had a few little extra drops of mist just to finish off that section. And then what I'm going to do once I've done my journaling, which I've typewritten using my typewriter, and cutting it out in strip form, is I'll grab some of the enamel dots that are in Our Family kit, I think, and I will embellish a couple of areas with those as well. And then I haven't mentioned I have used this amazing wood button, which is from the Reflections kit also. Now, with my journaling, I do tend to like to add a good story to a page and really to explain or give it detail to our photos and document our life. And on this page, I did have quite a bit that I wanted to say. So the journaling's a bit longer than I might usually do. But it also, because of the size of the letters of the rad and the orientation is changed, it took up a lot of the white space of the layout. So there isn't a lot of white space at all on this layout, which isn't something that I would normally do, but on this particular layout, that's how it's ended up. And once I move that to be continued, I think, oh no, I keep the to be continued and I add we were here, which is another chipboard piece. I'm pretty much finished. So this is the finished layout. I was really happy with how it turned out in the end. A little bit different, changing the orientation to landscape. And yeah, that's all finished. So I'm really thankful to be a guest for Altenew this month. I've got a card that I'm sharing on the blog as well. And I will be back soon on my YouTube channel with more videos. Bye everyone.